On this episode of the Leadership Hustle, we're going to give you 3 questions that we believe every family-owned business needs to have conversations around in order to create a good plan. Hello, and welcome to the Leadership Hustle for executives whose companies are growing fast and need leaders who are ready. Welcome back to this episode of the Leadership Hustle. I'm Andrea Fredrickson.
Michelle Hill. I got the look.
And we're here recording an episode on family business. As we mentioned in earlier episodes, we decided to sprinkle in a couple of topics that are very specific to family-owned businesses. And as we're recording this is June 23rd, and it is National Family-Owned Business and Operated Businesses Day.
Oh, is it?
So this is appropriate that we're recording a topic on this particular subject. And the subject is, there are 3 questions, there's probably more than that, but there are 3 questions that many families don't have, but should, or they wait till it's way too late. Mm-hmm. And so, go ahead.
Well, I'm just curious, as you just said that, they wait till it's way too late. So what's way too late?
Well, so way too late is they haven't had the conversation until someone's really sick, like an owner is really sick.
Oh, okay.
Or has passed, right? There's some kind of medical or health kind of issue. Or someone is not pulling their weight. Mm-hmm. But I think that there are other kinds of things where it's too late, where something happens and so there's no plan, and so now we're scrambling, and there's no way you can do it without being emotional. Yes. Because the questions that we're gonna bring up are truly emotional, and we can have all the conversations about business, because businesses aren't struggling or failing because of lack of a plan or strategy. They're failing because of what's not being said. They're not having these conversations. So we came up with 3 questions that we believe families should have the conversations around or surrounding. So let's talk about those.
Yes. So first question, who owns what and how will that change? Tell us about that.
And so there are often times when families have members, like siblings, mm-hmm. in the family who are working day in, day out. Maybe they've risen to management level. Maybe they're a key employee here and there. They might have a sibling that's not working in the business, right?
Very true.
Okay.
Yeah, very common, actually.
So now that we're looking at this plans, is there an estate plan? First of all, a lot of parents, a lot of that generation, they'll be working on their estate plan, and they avoid even doing the estate plan because they want to make sure it's all fair.
Fair, yes.
It's like fair. So what does that mean? So if Michelle, you had worked in the family business, you were a family member, would you expect to have some ownership in the business post-parent moving on or through the estate planning process?
If I had worked in it? Yeah. I would, unless told differently.
Unless told differently, yeah.
And this is, again, going back to those conversations.
Right.
Unless told differently, yes. I would assume that as I'm working the family business, there would be ownership at some point, yes.
And would you expect your siblings to also have ownership in the business?
And they also worked, or?
Nope.
They didn't work. Yes. No. Well, okay. My instinct is no. Because did they just choose to go, they focus on a career, their passion.
They found a different career.
And they went and down that path, and they have their own little world, and they're not, yes, I would assume that they've chosen not to be in the family business, so they've chosen not to, so therefore they would not
have ownership. However, there is the sibling. There are the siblings out there that says part of the estate is, well, just because I didn't work in the business doesn't mean that I am not part of the ownership, because that's what mom and or dad, or both. So now there's an estate, so I would be part of the ownership. I may be part of the directors. I may be part of the board. I may be part of that. I have ownership. I should get compensation as part of a board, even though that I didn't put any extra blood, sweat, and they're not thinking about their blood, sweat, and tears.
Correct.
So this is the conversation that doesn't usually happen during the time which people are alive. It is, we're gonna set the estate plan, and then surprise, here's what you have or don't have, depending upon the scenario.
Yes.
And the expectations were, that's not what I was expecting, and now we get lawsuits. So we hear these statistics about how family businesses don't move to the next generation. It's things like this more so, lack of estate planning, lack of tax preparation, family feuds.
Yes.
Right?
Well, and I would even take this question further to the spouse.
What about
it? So let's just say, again, I'm working in the family business, and the parents are still there. They're starting to step away, and I'm stepping up now into more of the day-to-day operations and decision making within their their budget, within their expectations. So them and I are having those conversations, but I'm running the business and they're kind of in the background, just kind of setting those expectations. And then I get hit by the beer truck. How does that impact my spouse?
So many times unless there's been conversation, there are assumptions. Now, I say that with many, many business owners are putting things into a trust, and so then there's a buyout so that the family, the business goes to the bloodline, not to the marriage line.
Yes.
So then what happens, and how does that get taken care of? So there's some angles that are going in there, but there are assumptions that happen a lot with the spouse saying, well, why would I not have the ownership? It was my spouse. I should be able to sell my shares, or I should be able to
at least have some shares that I can't. Maybe I'm required to, but I should have some.
Again, if these conversations are not happening before the event requires them, surprise, and we get a lot of anger. Now, that doesn't mean that there's no emotion in walking through or educating people in the process while everybody's alive and of sound mind and things like that. There's still emotion. But it's far worse when mom and dad are no longer available, or that generation of ownership is no longer available.
Well, and I think, too, the more proactive, and we've kind of talked about this a little bit in a different session, but so as the children are maturing and making decisions, they make decisions based off of this plan. They have awareness of...
If it's communicated.
Correct.
Yes.
But where it gets, again, I think challenging is they don't communicate it. Now you have siblings making decisions to take their career path, and they didn't realize that, because I took my career path, now I can't be part of it. Or the person who chose to jump in and do it.
What if I want to come back?
Yeah. Or the person who chose to do it and the other ones didn't, they assumption, right, that, well, I'm the one that's going to move it forward. They don't know that the decision's been made that, my siblings still get ownership.
Right. There's without the conversation.
Yeah.
So whether they do get ownership, whether they don't get ownership, there's assumptions being made on all parts.
And big decisions getting made on those assumptions.
Yeah.
So the second one is who leads now and next.
Okay. So who leads now and next is the conversation about, let's go back to your scenario. You are running the show. You are in the business. You're on the leadership team. You've got a team of people who are doing things, and
everyone's reporting up.
Gen 1 comes back from Arizona after they're 3 or 4 months away, or they've been on a trip for a while, and they come back in, and all of a sudden, whatever decisions that had been made are now... There's a question about every decision that was made, and things get get vetoed, I guess I'm going to call it. They get changed in the middle of it, whether it was... that's what you're doing now. Or, who decided that? And now we start getting these questions going through mine. So now it's like, who is leading today and who isn't?
Yes.
But the other part is current generation says, I'm stepping away. And they literally don't. They are.
Or they may for a couple months. Literally, they literally check out for a couple months. And as they should. I mean, they built the business and so forth. But it's that return that then is like, oh, what do you mean now? You're going to backtrack decisions I made? You're going to make those changes? Which that has a ripple effect out to the employees because the employees recognize very quickly, well, yeah, mom and dad are gone. So, or whomever that is. Right. So these decisions, they're probably going to change when they come back. Why do we even do it? Well, let's just wait till they come back.
Just wait. When does so-and-so come back? Because we just need to have the meetings there.
They put that next generation in such a negative space where people don't trust them or believe in them or follow them.
Right.
That.
Well, and what if they don't have someone that they believe can currently run the business, and so who's going to run the business in the future? So have they decided? Son-in-law, daughter-in-law, cousin, uncle, who's going to run the business? Is that clear? Have they made up their mind? Are they appointing them? Because a lot of times businesses are owned by a single person.
Yes.
Sometimes it's
partners,
spouses.
Starts
right?
that way, yes.
But especially in first generation businesses, it is a single owner, and they've decided they're going to tap Michelle on the shoulder and say, "I need you to," and it's like, do I even want to?
Correct. That's the first question.
Do I even want to do this? Or other family members, other executives are like, yeah, if Michelle runs this, I'm out.
Yeah.
Right? And so there are things like that are not being talked about. They may be talked about out here, but the family.
Where it really matters? No.
The person who knows, the person who's involved, they are not having that conversation. So that is another one of the questions that needs to be talked about.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
All right.
And then that third one is, what do you personally want?
Oh, this is such a emotionally charged question. And I know I said that with the other two, but before you even have the conversation, you need to think for yourself.
This is for the owner, or so I was just going to ask that.
This is for the next gen.
Okay.
What do you want? Do you want to be an owner? Do you want to be an executive? Do you think you have the capacity? Are you doing this because this is what you want to do, or are you doing this because you feel obligated to do it?
Yeah.
I don't want to disappoint. No one else really could do it. We want to keep it in a legacy in the family. I mean,
everyone else went off and did their own things.
Yeah, I'm working with that right now. It's like we have farms, we have all kinds of businesses involved, and it's like, which one do I want to be involved in? Who can if it's not me? Mm-hmm. I don't want to see everything stop because I decided I wasn't going to. I'm going to disappoint all these people. Yeah. There's a lot of heaviness that's on there. And if you do it out of obligation and can't get your mind flipped so it's not an obligation, everybody's going to know.
Everyone knows. Yes, yes. Years ago, I had a client that was the scenario. He was running dad's business, and that was never his desire. And it was his role to run the business was such a stretch for his personality. He was so uncomfortable and really just not confident, and not the leader they really needed, but he was doing it because that's what was expected. And he was just not happy. Not happy.
Oh, and I know people that start and they work in jobs and they are unhappy their entire life working that. I can't imagine doing it because we get to do what we love to do, right?
Yes.
And so, so having to make and commit to something that you're not quite sure of, do yourself and everybody else a favor. Either get there or get out.
And
right?
Yeah, and I think there's so many options out there today that the next generation doesn't necessarily have to be in the business. They can still be on the board. They can still where it still stays in the family, but yet there's, what does that look like? I mean, it doesn't have to be that black and white.
Well, and I also think that, yes, I'm a big fan of family-owned businesses, family-run businesses. But there are other options, whether it's an ESOP or KESOP, where the legacy of the business continues. Founder's still always going to be the founder. That doesn't mean that the family doesn't still get to work in the business. But it's just done in different ways where now strengths and gifts and
desire,
energy and desire can all be fulfilled in something that's been growing in a different way.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So, we have these 3 questions, and we really want families to have these conversations. Some families are comfortable saying, okay, I'll have this conversation because I heard it on this podcast. We also have a download. So just make sure you recognize that there's a download. And if the way you subscribe to this podcast doesn't allow for that, reach out to us at info@rebellagroup.com, info@rebellagroup.com, and we can get that thought stimulator or the questions to ask. We can get that to you. But if you're not comfortable without having a referee or a person who can help manage some of the conversation where parents don't become over-parenting and kids don't revert back to their 13-year-old selves, or parents don't hear their 13-year-old child. Their 13-year-old child doesn't hear mom and dad talking like old mom and dad, right?
Yes. Well, and I also look at it as a way everyone can participate. Mm-hmm. Because when you're the one leading it, now you're leading it. That's different than participating.
Right. You feel like somebody's
you feel like
a
parent still,
yes,
right?
Yes. And I think that's sometimes the issue is, yes, have the conversation as long as you feel like you're being manipulated into the conversation. But if we could give you this one bit of advice and just start having those conversations, just have people start thinking about it first. Just get to thinking. Bring everybody together, start having those conversations, maybe put some rules out there that if it gets to feeling like it's unhealthy, like we just need to take a break. Let's come back and we'll talk about it next week or next month, and we'll have this conversation. But I would much rather you have the conversation while everybody is around and people can hear the backstory. There's no assumptions. Then rather than wait till we have to scramble and now we really don't have a plan, we have to.
It's react.
It's a reaction.
Yeah, it's firefighting.
Yeah. Thank you for listening to this episode of The Leadership Hustle. And don't forget to hit subscribe so you don't miss another episode.